Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Kill Count. Today we are finally looking at Puppet Master 2, released in 1990. I covered the first film a whole year ago, but never got around to cover the second one. I think this film is not better than the first, but I think it's an okay movie. It's about another group of friends. They go to investigate at the old hotel for anything paranormal. They soon find out about the dolls and the old puppet master. But enough of that, let's get to those kills. The movie begins with Pinhead digging up an old friend. The others pour this in there, and it comes back alive. It cuts to present day at the hotel. This new group of friends decide to stay here. Apparently they're paranormal people, and they're here to investigate.
Thought I heard something. Some kind of groaning.
As they're reading, they hear something break. It was just their friend. Then it cuts to this farmer dude. This old lady pulls over and asks some random stuff about paranormal, but this musty lady says, "Get out, bro," then tells her not to go to the hotel.
"You'll stay away from that hotel!"
It cuts back to the bros. This guy sets up the cameras, and as they work, that old lady starts telling them what to do brew, but she's part of the club, and he tells Camel to go make herself useful while that's happening. Some weird stuff happens up here. It cuts to the next day. Patrick goes outside to take some sweet pictures and sees that digged up grave. Then they all have dinner. They start going over some shit. When Camel starts saying something, Patrick starts laughing at her dumbass for no reason. This makes her just leave the table, and Patrick says he drank too much wine.
Drink too much wine.
Then he also leaves. The next morning he gives his sister a rose and says he's sorry. Then she starts telling him about the old puppet master who died here. But then she gets interrupted by Camel screaming. She comes down and says she saw one of the puppets. This makes everyone come in, and they decide to go up there, but they find nothing. Then Camel says she's gonna leave tonight, and says they should leave too. She starts packing up, then the power goes out, then Pinhead gets her ass, and Jester covers her mouth, and he drags her away. The others think she just left without her stuff. Then these two start drinking. Then they see Tunneler go into Patrick's room. He gets on his bed, then he fucking comes at him and drills his head. They come in and throw him off, and just starts beating his ass, and his sister sees him and starts crying. Then they take the doll out. They take him apart and try to find out what makes him come alive. After that, they put this motherfucker in the freezer. Then this man named Talon comes to say was is up to the bros. He wishes them a good morning.
"Where you been all this time, Cheney?"
Endeavoring to do something about this.
Then they start talking about a bunch of shit. Then he notices the footage they have. After that, he dips out. And Carolyn thinks he has something to do with this. Then this dude named Michael shows up at the hotel. Carolyn answers the door, and she lets him in and shows him the doll, but he doesn't think the doll killed her brother. Then Carolyn offers him to stay at the hotel, and he says, "Yeah, boys." Later that night, while the hillbillies sleep, the woman wakes up and sees the doll killing her husband. She goes to get her shotgun, then she gets tripped by Blade. She gets up and beats the doll's ass and throws her in the fire. Then Torch walks up and fucking lights her ass on fire, bro. After that, they return back to Talon, and he tells them they need to get better at their fucking job. Torch don't like, and Jester's all sad. Then Talon tells them to go back in the cage. Then it cuts to a flashback of the old puppet master. He puts on a puppet show for everyone. After that, randomly this guy's eyes glow up because the set went on fire for no reason, and Puppet Master gets pissed. After that, the dude shows him the actual puppet, the moving one. He starts saying some shit. Then it cuts back to Carolyn. Michael goes to talk to her. He says thanks for the stay. Then she asks if he heard anything. Michael says he has to go now. Michael asks her to go outside, and she agrees only because she sees that guy out there. He says hi to the bros. Then Michael introduces himself and also gets his fucking hands off Carolyn, but Talon says his hands are always in pain, and Michael says he shouldn't be smoking, but Talon says he's gonna stop in his own time.
But I do really intend to stop in my own time.
Then Talon just freaks them the fuck out and walks away. Carolyn tells Michael a little bit about Talon and thinks he's insane. Then it cuts to this random kid. He does some really fucked up shit to his doll, like damn bro, he sends it flying. Then something throws it back to him. It's Torch's bitch ass. He likes Torch way more, so he starts spar kinging his ass next. Torch don't like that shit, so he actually kills this kid, bro. Like actually, Michael walks back to Carolyn and says he found nothing on Talon. Then Michael says he wants to show her something. They go to the beach to talk.
Maybe I need to rethink it all. Do something meaningful instead of putting scientific tags on nightmares.
Then Carolyn starts crying and shit because she feels like it's her responsibility. Then Michael randomly starts smooching her up. After this, Talon returns back to the puppets. Jester's looking all sad. Bro, Blade tells him to hurry up. Then Talon starts talking about his plan. He's gonna bring his wife back, and he's gonna be in a new body. Later that night, Carolyn looks over the doll again, but her friend tells her to get some sleep. Carolyn says she's just gonna take a break, so she goes to see Michael's punkus again. He puts on some music, and they have some shots. Then he asks her to dance, but Talon interrupts them and says he'll dance with her, and bro actually starts dancing with her. This makes Michael mad, so he stops it.
My hero.
Then Talon just breaks their disc. After that happens, Michael says they should go to the police.
And if you suspect him of anything at all, we should go right to the police.
But Carolyn don't want to. One very serious scene later, Jester returns back to Talon with his stuff. Then Torch and Blade show up, and Talon says he's not gonna let Carolyn escape. Then he says Torch will deal with Michael. Then it cuts to topless Wanda. She puts some clothes on. Then Lance comes out of the shower, and they start getting into it because of this killer thing, so Wanda just walks out. Then the lights go out in Lance's room. She goes to look in there and sees Blade doing some work. Then he comes right for her and cuts up her face, being killed off screen. Carolyn wakes up the next morning, and she decides to go sneak around in Talon's room. She finds the new doll bodies, and Talon catches her. This makes her scream, waking Michael up, and he sees Torch about to do some work. He sets the whole bed on fire. Then Michael puts it out. It cuts back to these guys, and Carolyn's tied up. Talon starts showing her the dress she wear. Meanwhile, Michael's booking it down the hallway, and he sees Torch again. Then Michael sprays him down and runs upstairs. Back to Talon, he tells her to look as he uncovers his face. Then Pinhead hits Michael in the face, but Michael gets out of it pretty easily. Then finally see Talon's face. Michael gets to the room finally, but gets attacked by Blade. Then he just throws him down the garbage. Talon starts mixing up the stuff. Then he pours some in the doll's mouth, and he drinks some. Then he cuts himself and bleeds in the cup. Yeah, bros. He transferred to that body and tries to make Carolyn drink it too, but then Michael finally gets in the room. While this happens, Jester takes the drink. Then once again, the puppets randomly just start beating his ass, and Michael unties her. Then Blade breaks his doll parts, leaving Torch to finish him off, and bro just sets his ass on fire. Then he falls out the window. Then it just cuts to Michael and Carolyn at, I don't know, someone's grave, and they just walk off. Meanwhile, this red van pulls up, and it's the other doll. They're planning on going somewhere as some. The movie ends with them driving off. I counted 8 deaths in this movie, 5 guys and 3 girls.
On the next kill count.
MuteRUFF is a bad thing to count down. MuteRUFF is a bad thing to count down.